and welcome to Impact Africa, our online talk show where we get to have conversations with diverse people and organizations who are impacting lives positively. Yes, I am Dr. Kemi Akiode Adebayo, also known as Mama K. And in today's program, to share an amazing story is the courageous, resilient, and creative Miss Daniella Djan. She is the director of, I need to get it right, Peculiar Prodigy, which is based in Cape Town, South Africa. How are you, my dear Daniella?
Wonderful and growing.
And I'm going to steal that hearing. You keep, each time I see you keep having various things that I can steal or borrow. Maybe let me use the borrow.
Yeah, borrow.
Oh, borrow. So tell us, where you're from, your journey, life, growing up and education, whatever you want to share with us.
Sure. I was born in Nigeria, Abuja.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Wow. So you are technically a Nigerian?
Technically, yes, but my parents are Ghanaian, both Ghanaian.
Okay.
So I'm the number four of four siblings. So I'm the youngest.
Oh, baby.
And I'm the baby, and we were all born in Nigeria. Soon after I was born, we moved back to Ghana. Okay. And soon after that, when I was 3, we moved to South Africa. But initially we were in the Eastern Cape.
Why the move for your parents? Were they diplomats?
My dad was a quantity surveyor.
Okay.
And he got a good job in the Eastern Cape. It used to be formerly called the Transkei.
Right.
So he came soon after I was born, and then he stayed for about 2 years, and then the rest of the family came along after that. And
you've been here ever since?
Ever since, yeah. 88.
At the age?
I was 3.
3?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
so South Africa is home as well.
It is.
You can claim 3 nationalities.
I can, yeah. So I pretty much grew up in South Africa. I went to boarding school when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
In Grahamstown, about 3-4 hours away from where we were living. And boarding school was quite an experience for me. Growing up with all sorts of diverse people and away from home most of the time, it was good. You learn from others, from the different cultures, the different environment. I learned quickly. I learned Xhosa.
So you can speak Xhosa?
I can speak Xhosa.
Wow. Okay, Afrikaans?
Afrikaans as well, so yes.
Interesting.
I can speak
and can you speak any? Yeah.
No, that's the embarrassing part.
That's embarrassing.
I can't speak my...
Well, blame your parents.
Yeah.
They didn't use that language at all.
Yeah.
So, but what language is your original Ghanaian language?
It's Tree.
It's Tree.
Tree,
Okay.
Yes.
And
so my grandmother was illiterate, and so
right.
My mom really took education very. She really held it in high esteem. Because my grandmother wasn't able to go to school during that time. They wouldn't allow females to go to school. So my mom really took education. She put a huge value on it, and she took us to good schools as good as she could. She could afford. Books were just a part of our life growing up all the time. They were all over.
So you couldn't escape being an author.
Couldn't. But yeah, so when I was in grade 6, though, what happened with the books that I started, just with the writing, we had a project, Alice in Wonderland. We read the book, and we had to write a story about, kind of our own version of Alice in Wonderland. So I wrote Danny in Toyland, and my grade 6 teacher was so impressed. I did an audio recording of it as well, with a tape and everything, back in that day. And my grade 6 teacher was so impressed that she read it to the then grade 1s, who in turn wrote me letters of gratitude.
Wow.
And after
that age, you were ready, thinking outside the box, I'll say, because Alice in Wonderland and personalizing it to yourself.
Yeah, so after that, something really sparked in me, and I said, I want to be a traveling children's author.
Right.
And I think from then, I've loved writing. I have, thank God, he's given me a gift in writing as well. I didn't know my first book would be about lupus, which we'll talk about later. But I've always wanted to write. So, yeah.
Let's go to your company now. Peculiar Prodigy. That name already, the tongue twisting.
It is.
I have to be like, okay, why that name, and when did you start it, and how has the journey been for you? What do you do at Peculiar Prodigy?
So it's just under 2 years old.
Okay.
And Peculiar Prodigy, the name came from the passage in 1 Peter 2, where it says in the New King James Bible that says, we are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people who are called to display the excellencies of God.
There's a song actually.
Yes,
generation. That's why when you were quoting it now, I know that song. Wow.
And so peculiar in the Oxford Dictionary means distinguished, it means unique, it means special. Also, a prodigy in the Oxford Dictionary is also a young person that displays exceptional qualities and abilities. And I'm a person that loves alliteration as well. So Peculiar Prodigy just seems to come together beautifully. And so what the business does, so I started the business just under 2 years ago. And the reason I started was because, I had just various interests and my educational background. So I went to Rhodes University.
Okay.
I studied journalism and media studies. I did drama.
You should be on this side then.
I did drama, I did psychology, I did English language and linguistics, and then I did a teaching diploma after that. And so, I mostly did teaching. I really specialized in speech and drama, teaching kids speech and drama. The journalism world, I dabbled with it, but it's very stressful, Mama Kay. It's a very stressful industry. And in my first year, when I got diagnosed with lupus, it was not a good idea to pursue that career because it is very stressful, and stress, it aggravates the disease. Okay. So I needed to choose something that was conducive to my health condition and that sort of thing. I mean, teaching, I don't know why I chose that because that's also stressful.
I was just going to say.
But for the most part of the teaching, I was doing part-time, which was very helpful. But I found that I had other interests. I mean, with the writing, I was in, with the teaching, with the writing, just the creative side of me, was not explored as much as I would have loved to. And I thought, there isn't just one box that I can be put in. So it's best that I create something. And so what we do at Peculiar Prodigy, so it's mainly, our scope of work focuses on communication strategy. So we do publishing, publications, copywriting, consulting, also writing content for children. Okay. So with the children, it comes in with my children's books, where I created a character called Madame Deline, and she's a story reading. She reads stories to kids, and basically her kind of title is the advocate, reading and literacy advocate for little people. Okay. And so the YouTube character reads stories, and it was developed while I was teaching speech and drama at Parklands College and Christopher Robin Pre-Primary here in Cape Town. And so with that came my children's books and going into the schools and, having book show presentations with the books, with the kids, with the characters. So the character's got pink hair and pink glasses and pink lipstick, and she's got a big personality. And so that's what she pretty much does. And through that, I was encouraged to start a publishing with kids, where we'd publish an anthology of creative writing works with the kids, just to encourage them to love to read and to write, and to really just tap into their creativity and imagination, because it's just so broad and it's so expansive. And so that's where the publishing also comes in with the kids. Right. Yeah. So
with the books, and I can see, I'm just looking at some of the ones here, that we've got here. I love the fact that, even the photographs, with the illustration, here it's showing, people like you or people, that normally you don't see. And now I can recognize, what make the link between Alice in Wonderland and Daniella in Toyland, because it's like you showcasing, because I can see, from here that you're showcasing what you personally, can relate to, or what you've grown up, with.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the challenges, before we finish this segment, what are some of the challenges that you've experienced? I know you said only just under 2 years ago, before under 2 years you've accomplished, a lot, I believe. What are some of the challenges you've experienced as a publisher, or even just running the business, and how have you managed to deal with them?
So yeah, there have been challenges in terms of just keep on going, keeping on going, being disciplined to carry on every day, even though you don't see because as entrepreneurs, you've got the big vision, you've got that, it's enormous and it must get there now. And just having the patience and being consistent and being patient about just doing the work every day, and not getting easily discouraged. I think my biggest challenge has been I'm a very zealous person.
Okay.
Very, got lots of zeal and lots of enthusiasm. But once someone pops it a little bit, it'll pop for a good week or so, and then I'm like, okay, no, get over it now. Let's do it. And that takes a lot of time. And so my challenge has been the fact that I do tend to get discouraged easier than what most entrepreneurs should not be. And so what to get over it is just to have mentors around me and people that are my cheerleaders, people that can challenge me and say, look, it happens, you're going to get lots of no's before you get yeses, keep on going. And so that, to kind of quell that problem, I've surrounded myself with people that can push me when I feel a bit down.
So what are you mostly proud of?
So I'm proud of, I, through my books and through the work that I do with the kids, and I'm also a life coach to teenagers and 20-somethings. So it works around a lot of just empowering the kids, empowering adults, empowering the youth, empowering people, and equipping them with what they need with the challenges they have, and trying to say, look, these are the challenges I've had. These are this is the road that I've walked. This is my journey, and try and relate to it, and be encouraged and be inspired to walk your journey, to do it with strength, and to do it with resilience, and with hope, And hope is, for me, it's not a feeling, it's a focus, So so that I feel hopeful, but I'm focused on what I know that I've been called to do, and I will do it. Do whatever it takes to do it. So that, but also just the fact that, and I quoted this the last time you interviewed me, but I just love that quote because it just resonates with the person that I am, and it's by Dale Carnegie, and he says, what is charisma? It is being more concerned about making others feel good about themselves, as opposed to making you feel good, them feel good about you. And just generally how, when you talk to someone, when you engage with someone, when you engage with people, making them feel like they are amazing. They can do whatever they set their minds to, not just like, oh, Daniella, that was great, that was wonderful, you are just the best. But thinking, flipping it to the sense that was great, Daniella, but geez, I can do that too. I can do better. I can do what I'm called to do. And so that for me has been my greatest. It's been wonderful for me, because even through my books, I can see that people have been inspired to run their own race, and that for me has been the success of my journey.
On that note, I love that, and we'll be right back. We'll just share some of your books and some of your work in the break. We'll be right back.
You want to know what I think was in her? I think she was such beautiful and handsome people. My name is Madam Delina. Say hello, Madam Delina. Hello, Madam Delina.
Wow. So Daniella, I know during the break there we were having interesting conversation, which means we're probably going to come back and have a part 2. But earlier on, you shared your journey from being born in Abuja, Nigeria, by 2 Ghanaian parents who then moved to South Africa, and you lived in Cape Town from age 3, and you studied, in South Africa. Can speak Xhosa, can speak Afrikaans, although you can't speak Chui.
Not very well.
Do you understand
that? I do pretty much.
Oh, then that's
pretty
fine.
much,
no,
yeah.
Then that's fine.
I do struggle with it a bit. Yeah.
No, then that's fine. That's fine. If not, I would have said, no, we're not allowing you to go to Ghana, even to visit. If you understand, then that's fine. So, earlier on, we were speaking about, the fact that, your journey and you being an author, and you've written a memoir, a beautiful memoir. I'm yet to complete reading it, I have to confess. Crazy Became Me. It's a short, memoir book, but I just felt so intrigued, about it. What led you, to write this book? And what is lupus? Because people will go, what is that? And I know, you've even, got another book, there about understanding lupus, for kids. So you are a warrior, I believe, as well. And you've gone through so much, in terms of this journey. So please do share some of this with us.
So lupus is an autoimmune disease. And this means that the body doesn't recognize the healthy cells in your immune system doesn't recognize your healthy cells, and so it attacks the healthy cells instead of it being protected. So an easier way of explaining to people is, imagine that you adopted a security dog, and that dog, instead of protecting you, actually turns on you and attacks you, and that's essentially what the body does when you have lupus. And so there are different types of lupus. The most common is called systemic lupus erythematosus, and that's SLE. And that's the type. It's the type I have, and this specific one attacks any part of your body. So it's affected my hair, my skin, my lungs, my kidneys, my eyes, my blood vessels, my joints, my bones.
All of you.
It's affected all of me, including my brain, where I went psychotic. Hence the name of the book, Crazy Became Me. And so it's been a horrendous journey, Mama K, a horrendous journey, and through it all, by the grace of God and by implementing certain things, being strategic about how I manage the illness, because the illness does not there's no cure for lupus at this stage, but there's ways of managing the disease so that you can have a quality of life, to the most degree. And so just the fact that by God's grace and by, you know, using those management strategies, I was able to come out of it. Because at a stage, I experienced near death several times. And getting out of it and having people say, how did you do it? You know, how? Because to the point where your people that are closest to you do not believe that you will make it. And they asked, how did you do it? And I thought, let me write a book about it. Because I'm also someone that journals a lot as a writer. And so there was material that I could use. In the book, there's places from my mom's own journal that, you know, speaks from her point of view, how she was feeling, because she was my main caregiver. And yeah, just, you know, I believe, and a lot of people have said that I did a survey on the book as well in 2020, just to get feedback on what people thought, you know. And a lot of people said it's not just a lupus story, it's a story about life. It's a story about being resilient. It's a story about having challenges and overcoming them. And so, yeah, that was the reason I wrote the book.
So in terms of, I'm just, I don't know, I'm okay, right. What you just described there for me, and exactly what you said there. So it's about life. It's about just basically looking at life probably in another way. I wouldn't even want to picture, and I think that's what I'm trying to get in my head, and I can't even get it out. And based on what you're describing, because I'm trying to just imagine, I'm looking at you and I'm imagining, you know, all you're saying and how that would have been for those close to you, especially your mom, like you said, as a caregiver. What was going through your head as well at the time, you know, exactly, and at what age did you find out, you know, that you have this?
Sure. So with lupus, it takes according to research, it takes between 4 to 6 years for the doctors, for you to have symptoms, to experience symptoms, before doctors can, you know, definitely diagnose you with the disease, because it mimics other diseases. So it'll come in the form of, you know, with sore joints, and they'll think, you know, it's arthritis, or, you know, massive headaches, something to do with the brain, or, you know, heart palpitations, you know, it's got to do with the heart. So it's just a run around until, you know, and that's why it's important to have, you know, a steady person that is your doctor. So that, because with me, it started in grade 10 when I was 14 years old. And it started with my hair falling out. I had severe anemia. I would wake up sometimes with my eye this big. And no one could explain what was going on. One day I'd be fine, the next day I'd pretty much be on death's door, the next day I'd be fine again. Some things were just not adding up. I woke up the one day, so when I was doing drama at Rhodes University, we had a movement exam, and I woke up that morning, I couldn't straighten my arms. They were locked. And so I obviously couldn't do the exam, but again, no one could explain why that was, you know, that happened. And so it would be a stage, it would be kind of the scenario where one day you'd be fine, the other day you'd be really ill. 2 days later, you'd be fine again. And people are like, what's going on with this person? Extreme fatigue as well is a symptom of lupus patients. You are just tired. And you can sleep up to 12 hours a day, but you wake up exhausted. And then came the depression, the severe depression, because, you know, at high school, I was, if they had, we had a prize that, you know, your peers voted for you, and every year of my high school I received that prize. It was kind of like the popularity, like the people's person award. And I was voted that every single year I was in high school. And so I was an extrovert. I love people. I still love people, but, you know, experiences and things kind of shift and change that. You know, I was out there. I was outgoing. I'm gregarious. I was out there, and then for first year hit, and that's when the disease, you know, started really creeping up a lot more. Even with these little things that I had in high school, because I was the person that I was, people just laughed over it, and you know, it was bad. But for me, because of the person I was just, oh, it's okay, I'll be fine, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But when varsity hit, I was in a different environment. I didn't have the friends that I had around me, and so it got to a point where people that didn't know me, or even people that did, or didn't understand, they're like, are you just trying to get away from work? Are you just lazy?
Attention?
Yes. Are you just wanting attention? Like you were fine yesterday. And that's a common problem that lupus patients face, because even people like to say, "Oh, but you look fine," but they don't know what's happening inside. The turmoil that's going on inside.
Because the thing is going on inside rather than an outward.
Right.
Although it shows sometimes outward, like you're saying.
It does, but it's not often. Yeah. So, man, it was just crazy. But then I got diagnosed when my doctor was like, no, something is just not right. And then he took me to a specialist, and that was when it was diagnosed.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I know when I read your book, there was a page for me, the bit about when you went to the pharmacist. So do you want to read that bit, a little bit of that, and just share your perspective on that, please?
Sure. I sat outside the pharmacy at the Falkenberg Hospital as they administered my medication. The other patients seemed to be staring into the nothingness. No cell phones, no books, no magazines to keep them occupied. They were just staring blankly. Daniella Djan! I got up and stood at the window. The pharmacist looked fairly young. She smiled at me warmly and put a bag full of my medication on the counter. So, ma'am, we have the methotrexate, the Nivaquine, the cortisol, the folic acid, the lithium, which is the antidepressant, and the olanzapine, which is the antipsychotic. Could she have said that any louder? Why am I still embarrassed to say I take a cocktail of medications? Because it makes me feel like I can't keep it together. Why do I consciously hide my medications when taking it in public? Because people ask too many questions, and if you tell them the real answers, they think you're a walking plague. Why is this still normal?
For me, that bit, I know there are other bits in there. Do you get that regularly, or was that a one-off, or how? I know you've already shared, some of your challenges. But how do you feel, and how do you handle that?
The medication, yeah. So it's difficult to always explain to people, what you're going through and what you have gone through. It's difficult, and even with writing the book and splashing it all out about what's going on, it's not something that you're like, hi, I'm Daniella and I have lupus, So with the medication, I try to keep it to myself, because you don't want people to worry about you. You don't want people to ask too many questions and think that you're going to die tomorrow, because I do take a lot of medication. And you also want to live a normal life. You don't want people to think every time maybe you feeling extra tired, or they're like, oh no, we need to watch out for this one. I think it's also a form of stubbornness, because sometimes you do need to step back and say, look, I can't do this anymore. I need to rest and properly rest, and that's important. And that's one of the reasons, and one of the things that have helped me to heal. Because in fact, I went to my specialist, and since I started implementing the things that I have been doing in the last couple of years, he said the first time he saw me, which was, so I changed my specialist, because that again, doctors, oh my word, we had a lot of fighting with the doctors, because they weren't sure if it was bipolarism. When I became psychotic, they weren't sure if it was bipolarism or the lupus itself causing that.
Right.
So there was just a lot of discontent with that. But even with that, like the things that I've been able to implement to manage the disease, So I saw him for just over a year, and he said the first time I saw him, my lupus count for lay people, it's just the greater the count, the number, then the more active the lupus.
Okay.
So the lupus count, my lupus count was 1,820.
And what's the average, or what should it be?
That was pretty high. That was pretty high. And now, then when he tested again about a year later, it was 320. You know, so it went way down. Wow. Yeah. And in fact, I saw him again last week, Thursday, and he says that I'm in the best shape I've ever been, you know? Yeah, so it's really just God's grace, and also just, as I said, lupus, there's no cure for lupus. It's already damaged my kidney, so I'm going to be taking medication for, you know, for a while. But just the amount of medication I'm taking and just the quality of life that I have is a blessing, such a blessing.
Wow, I want to go deeper into that, but like I said, we're probably going to need to come back and hear more. However, you know, you've mentioned God, and the name of your business is a passage kind of that you got led to in the Bible. Is it your faith that, you know, keeps you strong, or what do you hold on to personally?
Sure.
What keeps you going, you know, even with all this? What keeps you going?
Definitely my faith. Definitely my faith. To me, there were times when I needed people to have the faith for me, because it was incredibly hard, incredibly difficult, incredibly overwhelming. But even the times when I said, God, why, and oh God, there were people that held my arms up when I couldn't do this, you know. People would hold me up in prayer, in love and support, in encouragement. But yeah, God has been a rock in my life. He really has been, and even my family have been just remarkable, absolutely remarkable. Just the support, just the love. My mom, my siblings have been just out of this world. So just the support of God, my personal relationship with Him, my relationship with my family, the people that have surrounded me as family, as my tribe, you know, as a community of people that just have held me together. And then, you know, particularly with the lupus, you know, you can't just live a normal careless lifestyle. You have to focus on what you eat. You have to exercise. You have to make sure that you do things that when you feel like your stress levels are, you know, increasing, you need to find strategy. You need to find ways of managing that. Otherwise, it will aggravate the disease. So different lifestyle changes that I had to make to do that. So I exercise 6 times a week. I don't eat crazy rubbish most of the time. I have my cheat moments. I promise you I do. But I try to keep, you know, a healthy eating plan. I don't call it diet, because you know, that's just a eating plan. Keep an eating plan. Just be healthy in terms of the exercise. The mental health is also very important. You know, keeping your mental health. I journal a lot, and that for me is the way I de-stress. That's the way I get ideas. It's the way I hear from God, I believe, you know. So things like that you need to put into your life. Otherwise, it'll just fall apart.
Whew, okay, you know what? There's so much in there. We need to have a break. We'll be right back. Wow, Daniella, what a journey. I really have so much respect. Even you just describing it, like I said earlier, I can only imagine, you know, your journey through lupus and still on it. But like you said, through books like this and sharing your story today to somebody, not necessarily having lupus, but maybe something else they have that they might not be able to, figure it out, why me, or, I'm sure some of the tips you've shared there on how you've managed to intentionally just keep working, on yourself and your faith, family, friends, being all part of, your journey and helping you in there. So let me now go to something totally, back to Peculiar Prodigy. Because obviously you're a leader, what you're doing, where you go, life coaching and so on. What are some of the qualities that you feel a leader should have? And, an entrepreneur, even like you.
Sure. It leads to the question of just what, for me, is the definition of success. And for me, success is the daily discipline of being able to align your lifestyle with your purpose.
Right.
And having clarity on what it is that you're meant to be doing. And this is a discovery. It's not like one day you wake up and it's like, oh, it's this. And that's the beauty of it. It's a process of exploring and discovering and just a journey of finding, what it is that really makes your heart come alive. And once you've found those things, just to run with that. And being a leader is just someone that has that vision, has that clarity, and has the determination and the chutzpah to do it whether or not people are on their boat now or they'll come on later. But just to have that that focus and that drive to know why they're doing it and to push ahead until people are like, oh, okay, I can see now, and I always knew that you could do it, but you're like, did they? Having that surety and that confidence that what the vision that you have, whatever it takes, it'll happen.
So what are some of your life lessons that you've, I know you're still very much young, but I still believe, in terms of your journey, your dad, qualified surveyor, your mom, in terms of, what was your mom's background?
She's into administration.
Administration, okay. Yes. So that and being a caregiver, which that alone, is like a home engineer, for you, managing, all the hospital and so. So what are some of the key life lessons, that you would share with a younger 7-year-old Daniella in Accra?
Sure, 7-year-old.
To say, if only, not regret, but what are some of the,
just be exposed as much as you can.
Okay.
I think that is so important. It doesn't have to do with money at all. You can find creative ways of exposing yourself to different people, to different experiences, to different perspectives. It's so important in terms of your growth, and that's another thing. Just being keen and being willing to grow every day. There's a quote by Alain de Botton that says, if you're not embarrassed about who you were last year, you probably aren't growing enough. And okay. It's so true to put value on your growth, to always be learning, always be hungry for knowledge, be reading, be asking questions, because even in the Bible, Jesus asked more questions than he gave answers. Because and that's even the way the Greek philosopher Plato. That's how he learned, and that's how he became so popular, because he asked questions, and by asking questions, it's also the one of the key cornerstones of coaching, life coaching, that you ask questions so that you can get the answers. The person that you're asking can come with the answers themselves.
Yes.
And so growth is important, and just knowing who you are, being steadfast and be humble about who you are, but just pushing forward. Growth is very important. Also, just emotional intelligence is incredibly important as well. And I think you've got a question that will come after that, but just knowing yourself and knowing others, being able to manage yourself and being able to deal with others in a way that is conducive to yourself and to the society. That's a skill. And people think, no, it's common sense, but it's not common to everyone, you know. And even being a leader is one of the most important things. Being emotionally intelligent, knowing yourself and how to deal with other people. So those are some of the things that, you know, is important.
Right. So I think my final question, you know, will be based, because I know we've run out of time at the moment. We're definitely over time. I know, you know, you're already in education, you know, you're an educator, and you've worked with kids and continue to work with kids, and you're doing your book as well to educate. And you would have seen the fact that we have a lot of social economic issues, you know, in South Africa, in Ghana, in Nigeria, in, you know, Ethiopia, which, you know, things like unemployment, access to infrastructure, poverty, and a lot of other things. What social issues are you personally passionate about, and what do you think are the solutions, you know, to that social issue? Even if it's not you that are going to do it, but we never know, we might have somebody listening. What social issue? Yeah,
I think one of them is definitely complacency and just feeling, you know, us Africans feeling like our hands are tied, but at the same time feeling entitled. So with regards to feeling that our hands are tied, you know, it's become, I feel like it's become an excuse now. And the solution, even for me, even in my personal growth, in my personal journey, the fact that I was sick most of the time and that I couldn't hold a steady job because I would fall awfully sick and then have to, you know, take a step back and not work for that company anymore. That brought questions about, you know, what do I need to do? How do I need to work around this problem? And that is one of the reasons I created Peculiar Prodigy, because it's something that, you know, I can manage. It's something that I can, you know, build around my strengths and my skills and my experiences and my abilities. And I think that as Africans, the solution for complacency is to take initiative. And it's something that I feel like we're lacking. We always want to be handed something. We always want and feel like we deserve to get. And we're not looking inside ourselves. We're not looking to the creative spirit that God has put in every one of us. You know, what is the problem? This is a problem. What is the problem in your society? What is a solution that I can bring to the society? You know, look out for things, take initiative. A lot of the things, a lot of the jobs that I've received has been not me sitting at home and saying, oh, I need a job, but me actually being active. You need to be active. And ironically, it's only when you start being active that then people come to you. You know, but it starts with you encouraging yourself and saying, what can I do? What do I have in my hands? How can I multiply that? And not feeling overwhelmed and not feeling it's too little, because it can always be multiplied if you just have that determination, that faith that, you know, I'm planting a little seed, I'm doing that little action, I'm doing that, you know, going to volunteer for this, you know, I'm going to make that phone call to ask, I'm going to send that email, I'm going to start that business small, and it'll grow. Yeah, so taking initiative is a big thing.
Right. Are you sure you were not at my presentation yesterday?
No. What presentation?
No, you don't even know about it. I'm winding you up because exactly those phrases and what you've used, I'm writing it. I'm like, no, Holy Spirit, what is happening? You know, the phrase, what is in your hands? You need to volunteer more, the entitlement thing. And I believe, you know, some people are listening. And we're not claiming that everybody is like that, but we need more. And you gave yourself, you know, as an example there that maybe, yes, you could have done it a different way, you know, at that time in terms of work. So, my dear Daniella Djan, we are going to stop now. It's been amazing and humbling hearing your story, I feel so honored and privileged. And when we do this, a lot of people think, oh no, yeah, she's going to, it's about them and so on, but I get more satisfaction just hearing, amazing story from people like you who have been resilient, who have been courageous, who have been bold, who take a risk, because you still took a risk even with what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You could have so well said, well, yeah, I can feel sorry for myself. I've gone through this personal experience, bipolar, psychotic, lupus, everything combined, whatever we don't even claim it as children of God. However, you're saying, okay, even in the midst of all this, while you can, if you're physically not able, it's a different thing. But then now you can, and you're working and being intentional, about what you need to do, like you said, your lifestyle change, and so on, and still stronger in your faith, journaling, eating right, and still being the extrovert in a different way now, but being able to say no to things as well, to say, okay, I know this will give me stress. I wouldn't do this. I'm going to look after me first. Sometimes, we need to do that. Maybe that's the bit where maybe feeling entitled, I don't know. But, no, I know, but I'm just saying that, it's something that we all need sometimes to say, okay, you know what? I need to look after me, because you don't need to explain to everybody about it. And some people might even be going, oh, is it only her that has this, or is it only her that back? No, but now you are taking ownership of your life, because, you believe, and I know God has planted that seed in you as well that is growing and germinating, in different ways. So I celebrate you. Thank you. I honor you. I see you. I see you well. And I pray that God has been your backbone. And like what you said, you had other people lifting your boat there, even though they were lifting He was there. The Holy Spirit was still there. Because we're all children of God, but we all need to keep to trust and obey. Him, and not give up. And keep our eyes focused, on Him. Because sometimes, struggles comes, issues comes. Sometimes we go, why me? And I'm learning as well now, why not me? So that we can share your story.
Sure.
Because if it was not you, how would you be able to do this? So thank you.
Pleasure.
Celebrate you, love you, have a lot of respect for you.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the very best. All in the future. I know you said more books are coming. So when should we look out for them?
This year sometime.
Sometimes this
year. They're done. They just need to be in the process of publication.
Awesome. Are they still more, or you don't want to share? They're still more in that line?
There's a sequel to Crazy Became Me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. There's a so we are coming back then.
Yes. And then there are three other children's books that are coming out. Yeah, just in the process of getting the proper.
Okay, and where could people get your books? Are they
on my website?
On your website. On my website. So you sell yourself as well?
Yes.
You don't go through.
Yes. No.
Okay, why is that? I know I said we're finished, but I'm just curious.
Because generally, I don't know.
Okay.
I should.
I think you should.
I should.
Please, you should. No, we need more people to hear this. I know your website is good, and we will share your website details. But I think you need to get your books out there. Because this is something, all the people might want to even give as gift to their children, not necessarily even black children of color, but just, this is a story, about, for me, Warrior, or what's that movie now that
Wakanda?
Yeah, Wakanda. I'm just saying everybody can relate, to things like so. Please, it could make a movie out of this as well. You never know. So I've given you an homework. So anyway, in closing, we normally do this. We'll want you to just say some few words of encouragement to anyone you want to speak to out there. Anyone. I don't even want to give you a scope of who to speak to. So, but you need to look in the camera directly to do that. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, just in terms of, you know, your challenges and the things that you might feel like that you feel overwhelmed. I just believe that one of your greatest mentors are your challenges, are the hard times that you have. And so look at it that way. And instead of asking, you know, with regard to your problems, what do I need to do? Change your question to who do I need to become to overcome this challenge? And that, you know, by changing that question in that way, it just changes the perspective. It just changes the way that you deal with the problem, that you approach it, because you ask yourself, who do I need to become? Not what, but who do I need to become to overcome this challenge? Because every challenge that comes your way is for you, and it's to grow and to stretch you. And as John Maxwell says, that you can only grow by being stretched, you're only effective by being stretched. Like a rubber band is useless if it's just hanging there. It needs to be stretched to be effective. And so never see your challenges as something that is punishment to you, or something that is awful. It is awful, but in the end of the day, it grows you, it stretches you, and makes you become a better person, and become the person that God has called you and has equipped you and has purposed you to be, for His glory, and to display His glory to other people as well. So yeah, be encouraged by that.
Oh, what a powerful and apt words of encouragement there. I just loved all what you said. I'm not even going to try and recap. And I can see you quoted something there about being hungry for knowledge. And I think that's basically what, you know, you're encouraging, you know, people, you know, to be, and being ready to be stretched. And back to the faith thing. So thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
A great pleasure.
Wow. Well, that's all we've got time for today. Till next time, this is me, Mama K, saying stay safe, stay blessed. And from Daniella,
goodbye. God bless.